What's up? How
Hey,
y'all doing, man? How you guys doing? Huh?
Feeling good, ready to go.
Are we feeling good? We feeling all right tonight?
It's Tuesday again, feeling good.
It is Tuesday. Right. It's Taco Tuesday is what they say. Is it Taco Tuesday right here?
Exactly. Did you know JJ Watt got signed?
Oh, did you hear that?
He did? What?
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
JJ got signed?
That's all they've been talking about.
Who?
I know, man. Hey, he straight up he burned us though, didn't he? He burned us. It's okay though. It's okay. We're gonna get into all that. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we mention that JJ Watt got signed in the first 10 seconds, or everyone's gonna bail on us.
Right. That's how it is these days, man. People ain't we ain't got no staying power, dude. We ain't got no staying power. But hey, welcome to the Hoof Podcast. It is another Tuesday. Hey, it was beautiful out here in Denver. We had like 60-degree weather. Eric, I know y'all are depressed as hell in New York with your
It's funny because if you look out the window, though, it kind of looked like Denver. Then you go outside and you freeze your ass off. It was like 12 degrees.
Oh no. Hey, we had our little snow last week, but we sitting pretty. We sitting pretty, huh, Anthony?
We nice now. Yeah.
We good over here. We good over here. But anyways, man, welcome to the Hoof Podcast. This is the Hoof Live. So want to make sure that you guys like, follow, and subscribe everything that we got going on. We have obviously if you're watching now, we have a Tuesday night show, but we also have a podcast that comes out every Friday. All right. And we thrive on likes, we thrive on attention. All right, that's how we get down around here. So we're always looking for it, man. That's our currency these days. But more importantly, though, here on the Cover One Network, this is what we do, man. We live to give you guys the best content, Bills content available that's out there, and we always have jam-packed shows for you throughout the week. So without further ado, guys, before we jump into this thing, I always want to give some shout outs to some of the peeps that are in here. Oh, my guy, Elliot. Hey, this is the percussion master. If you guys haven't checked this dude out on Twitter, y'all should, man, because he's in a band. I believe they just got signed or something like that. Elliot, tell us if you guys got signed or not. And but yeah, Elliot's a cool cat, man. Randy Hartman. Hey, that's my guy, Randy. Hey, that's the mock draft king right there. He's the mock draft king. Hey, Randy, after the show, I'm gonna need you to go on the.
I was gonna say you might have a lot to say after the.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Anthony's wife. She's gotta say, Anthony.
Because I'm here.
Because you're here. Yeah. That's how we get down. Reptile, what's good, man? How you doing? And for those of you who are just now tuning in, or this is your first time, man, welcome to the Hoof Podcast. This is the Hoof Live, and if you haven't seen our show, you're in for a treat. So we do things kind of differently. We break these things down into segments, things that we like to talk about. We always go around the league. There's always something popping in the NFL. And this is what we call the What's Poppin'. Okay, this is where we go around the NFL for the latest and the greatest news. All right, so I bring up topics. These guys haven't seen them. We chop it up. We talk about it. We argue. We fight. We cry. We laugh. Is what we do. All right. Are you guys ready?
Let's go.
All right, man. Without further ado,
what do you got for us?
Let's get this thing going on. Okay. All right, here we go. JJ Watt. This is what he said. I thought it was kind of a douche move. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Kind of a douche. He was kind of a douche on this. Source me with his little Cardinal shirt on. If that wasn't the most bro picture of him lifting weights, hey, dog, that was real bro. He might as well have been playing some Dave Matthews in the back. Right? I love it. Or some Rage Against the Machine. Like, that's total bro. But he burned us. Like, we were all like, JJ.
Whatever.
Everybody's like, F JJ. He ain't shit. So it's like we just broke up or something.
Yeah.
I was always on the train that he was going to get overpaid. I said I didn't want to pay more than, 9 or 10 million. And even then I was reluctant. And at first I said, absolutely not. Then I said, okay, maybe for the right price. Man, for the money he got, the alleged contract is what, 30 something?
31, 32 million.
Something like that. Yeah. I mean, that's way more than we were willing to spend. And thankfully it's more than Bean was willing to give him. Because to me, that's just too much. And with the frustrating thing, when we talked about that,
He was jamming the Nickelback. JJ is a Chad. He's a Chad, bro. He is a Chad, bro. Look, hey, hold on. I'm not trying to cut you off, but look, you remember on the playoff game when we played Houston? Me and Eric, I mean, we always send memes to each other about how JJ, everybody just creams on
yes, always.
Oh my god, like man, we so tired of that shit. I ain't gonna be here and be like, well, F JJ, we didn't need him, whatever. But it is funny to see everybody's reaction on Twitter, how everybody gets all like, hey, everybody's hurt. Like,
look, I knew we had to know it was a long shot. I thought he was going somewhere else that was at least competitive, maybe Cleveland or Chicago, because his wife's apparently
or Buffalo
from there. I didn't think he'd come to Buffalo. Honestly, I thought he'd go somewhere else because they'd give him more money. We just weren't willing. He'd really have to come to Buffalo to for the price that we were willing to pay him, and that just didn't happen. And like I said to you guys in the chat, all this talk that we have, our text chain that we have, all this talk about, JJ wants to sign with a contender and that's his number one priority. It was all bullshit. His number one priority was money. Who's going to give me the highest contract? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's definitely not a bad thing. Get yours if that's what you're for, man. You don't want a ring? You want money? Damn you, get the highest contract. You deserve it. That's great. What a team is willing to pay for you is what you're worth. And he's certainly got his, like I said already. And to me, that was just like, great. Have fun finishing in third place in your division. Have fun not making the playoffs or barely making the playoffs. Is he going to be the difference maker there? I don't think so. They have too many other problems to worry about. And, as you put in the graphic there, he said, I believe in you, Kyler Murray. Well, great. I'm glad somebody does. Because he hasn't proven it yet in the NFL. So far he's been all hype and just kind of good at times.
I wouldn't say.
Well, I mean, he hasn't reached the peak of being a top 5 or even top 10.
I think we're still waiting, right? We're still waiting.
Okay,
yeah, exactly.
Kyler Murray.
He has potential. Kyler Murray, I'm saying.
Yeah. So like when I was okay with JJ Watt signing with the Cardinals, right? Yeah. I mean, I was like, cool, like whatever, dude.
Yeah, get yours.
But when you start like throwing like, why you start talking shit like slick dissing, like here we go, like you tell Kyler Murray, look, I'm here because I believe in you.
I believe it.
Yeah. Get your hallmark ass out of here.
Exactly.
Get the hell out of here.
I'm here because they gave me the money. Just say that.
and then he tells his boy DeAndre Hopkins, it's nice to be on a team with somebody that can catch a ball over 3 people. Like, get out of here, dog. You slick this and you lame as hell for that, man. You wrong for that, JJ. So from all of us in Buffalo, F you, dog. You ain't it.
Yeah, it's fine. I didn't want him anyway. Most likely, I hope he does great there. I hope he's healthy and all that. But, for what they paid him, no thanks.
Hey, we got some.
There's a ton of personalities on that team too.
No,
JJ walking in there with DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray. I mean, Patrick Peterson, Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, that is there's a ton of experience on that team. But is it gonna be a storyline all season long? Right. Everywhere JJ Watt goes, the storylines follow. Just saying. They can't stop talking about him. Usually it's all positive, not a lot of negative. But, do you really want all of that in Buffalo? We'd be talking about JJ Watt all offseason if he signed with the Bills. Well into the season. After the season. Yeah. I personally, for that price tag, I think there's better options.
There is better options
for the Bills.
You can get multiple players for that.
Yes. Yeah. That boy's trying to break the bank. He is newly married, or however you want to call that. So he didn't want to bring his wife to Buffalo. She's too cold. So I get
Not
it.
For everybody.
It ain't for everybody. So moving on. But that's funny about JJ though. That is funny. But we got some newbies in here. So we got Patrick. Man, he says, "What's up, Cover 1?" Yes, Patrick, man. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate all the support, man. We appreciate all the support, and don't forget. Super chats do get discussed live. So if you guys want to further the brand and what we got going on, you can always super chat us and we will display your message and go about it in depth with discussion. All right. So we got the JJ Watt thing. Are we all good on JJ? Can we put him to bed now?
Yes, please.
We good?
Yes. Let's moving on.
We can cry. We can cry and get the Kleenex and do all that. But I think we're okay now. I think we're good. We had to get that off our chest. Kyle Vanoy and Kyle Rudolph are, as of today, they've been released. So, Eric, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on these two players?
I think they're solid players. It's a very weird year, right? Maybe Kyle Vanoy's a cap casualty because of the lower salary cap overall.
Okay.
Kind of surprised everybody with that one, but Kyle Rudolph, I think we saw coming. Who's the tight end they drafted? Irv Smith from Alabama.
Yeah, right.
He's on that team. So, I mean, I think Kyle Rudolph's time was the clock was ticking with him. I think he's a solid player. I think he'll land on his feet. I think he just put out that he wants to play for Stefanski again. But both these players are solid. I mean, Kyle Rudolph, I could see as a fit for the Bills, but Kyle Vanoy, his feelings are hurt from Josh Allen running him over. That's never going to happen.
Oh, man.
Oh, shoot.
Hey, yeah. He might be hurt. He might still be a little hurt from that.
Yeah, I was somewhat surprised at the Kyle Vanoy cut today, although he obviously didn't have the explosive season they expected him to have in Miami when they plucked him from New England. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. It's more of what's going to happen with him next. Where does he go? He's going to sign another big deal, I think. I mean, somebody's going to pay him, and it's certainly not going to be Buffalo. So I don't see us as a fit for him. But Kyle Rudolph, definitely an intriguing option. And one of the obvious reasons is Stephon Diggs, right? This is his former teammate, somebody he knows well, somebody he could probably recruit and say, look, man, this is where you want to be. We could use a guy like you. You could be that missing piece to take us to the next level. And we were already in the AFC Championship game. So there could be some recruiting going on there, depending on, again, as always in this offseason of madness here, how much money he's willing to take. You know, how big of a contract is he looking for? And I think if Bean does decide that that's the type of guy he wants, talk about a guy who could help mentor Knox. That's what we need on this team, really, a veteran presence who can help Knox. Man. I think he could be that guy, but it just depends on what number you put on it. Could you do 3 years, $21 million, and then split it up so that it's not a big as cap hit this year and then over the next 2? I don't know. So I don't know if I see that happening. Certainly, you know, when I did the tight end episode of our Making the Case, I said that we need to sign a veteran and draft a guy. I just don't know that they're willing to go as high in the price pool that Rudolph might be asking for. So again, it depends on what he wants.
I'm not a big fan of Kyle Rudolph on this team. Veteran presence, absolutely, but like I want somebody who's going to be a difference maker. And if you bring him in, I mean, how much better is he than Dawson Knox?
I think Dawson Knox would still be number one.
Right. Oh yeah, probably would still be the number one.
I think I don't Rudolph probably he would replace Tyler Kroft. And I don't think
certainly an upgrade there.
Lee Smith. He can't replace Lee Smith. You're gonna have to get a right tackle for that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it would have to be cheap, no doubt about it, for Kyle Rudolph. And he definitely fits into that Tyler Kroft role. He can definitely catch some balls in the red zone, and he's probably a better blocker than Tyler Kroft. But who knows at this stage in his career, right? I really haven't looked into him a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, he was a good tight end earlier in his career. I'm not saying he's like super old, but it's like, man, like
he can still catch balls, man. He's still
good. He can, but you know, I'd rather have a Jonnu Smith than Kyle Rudolph.
Certainly, and I think Jonnu Smith is a tier above that.
And I think their market value is probably similar.
Jonnu Smith is a little bit more, I think.
No, because we value his abilities more, right? What he brings to the offense, but like you got to
look at more on the open market. He's younger.
Jonnu Smith's a better fit for the offense.
He is a better fit for the offense.
You can actually give him a jet sweep.
That's the guy I wanted on my episode is Jonnu Smith. So
what I'm saying
we'll see.
He was underutilized in Tennessee, as we all know. So I think, you know, somebody like, you know, Bills, Josh Allen, Brian Dable, I think they get the best out of him. But we'll see. You know, free agency is a couple weeks from now, and that's going to be dope. But let's keep it moving, shall we? Shall we keep this moving? Okay, so we got a little cash or trash for you guys, all right? And we even
we're gonna do a little cash or trash. That's trash, bro. I'm gonna go cash on that.
Cash or trash? Nailed it. Nailed it. Transition was beautiful. Beautiful transition. But we're gonna do some cash or trash. All right, I got a couple of things for y'all, man. Got a little thing. Here we go. All right, cash or trash. And then for those of you in the chat, let us know if the questions. I'm gonna ask 3 questions. Okay, let me know. Let us know what's cash or what's trash. All right. We know J.J. Watt signing with the Cardinals is trash. That's a given. All right. But here we go. Dolphins break the bank to sign Aaron Jones. Now, they released Calvin Noy. They saved $9 million on the cap by doing that. It's rumored that they are stacking they got to stack that paper up to break the bank for Aaron Jones. Cash or trash? Anthony, we'll start with you. Eric, we'll finish.
It certainly sounds like cash to me, and a lot of cash going to one Aaron Jones. So, I mean, is he going to cash in on this? I think so. I think this makes sense for the Dolphins. They needed a running back last year, and they tried a whole bunch of patchwork things. They got this guy, that guy, and the other guy. One who I was actually a fan of last year, Matt Breida, who they didn't even use this year, really, to the best of his abilities anyway. And that's still a glaring hole for them. They, especially with the young quarterback who's a kind of dink and donk guy right now, you're going to need to establish a run game that is a threat that teams are going to need to prepare for. Now, if this is the best fit for Aaron Jones, I don't think so, because he hasn't been the focus of the offense necessarily in Green Bay. He's been doing, obviously, he's got all the accolades and everything. He's the top available running back for a reason in free agency right now. But I would never pay a running back personally. But this guy, he has the ability, he has the stat line, but going to Miami, is he going to have that same success without Aaron Rodgers being the passing threat back there? I'm not so sure. But again, once he gets paid, he'll be happy. So I do think this is cash. Miami's going to go in on the running back position, and he's the best one out there. So I'm going cash.
Okay, you going cash money, huh? All right, Eric, bring it home, baby.
I would say trash. I mean, because it's a rival, I'd love to see them blow their money on Aaron Jones. I do agree they need to develop a running game this offseason just to take the pressure off Tua so he can, slow things down a little bit. And they don't need a ton of success to be a good team with that defense, right? So, but I would not sign Aaron Jones, right? The value of the running back is still low. It's probably the lowest position on the field outside of special teams. And you have 2 top picks. They're in prime position to get Travis Etienne with their second first-round pick or Najee Harris. I would go that route. Personally, if I'm them, I take stud offensive lineman in the top 5, and then I go running back with that second pick. That's what I would do.
That's a pretty good plan.
Both rookie deals, keeps the cap low.
So what are you doing with that money?
Wide receiver, tight end, Zach Ertz, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, another tight end, anything you can do to help Tua out, because his development is the most important thing. You got to do everything that you can. But the talent level of Aaron Jones at this stage with a Travis Etienne or Najee Harris, I mean, I think all signs point to going with the rookie. Last, let's say 5 years, I mean, most of the time, rookie running backs have led the league in rushing.
Okay, so I like that, Eric. I think they're not in a luxury to take a running back in the first round. This team has holes. I mean, they have a good defense, but the offensive line is bad. They need some other options at wide receiver. So I think Jalen Waddle should be in play. I think they could use. You talk about cutting money. I mean, I think they can use another cornerback. I mean, you might want to Byron Jones. Let's go, get him out of here.
Just paid him last year.
Yeah, wow.
I'm just saying, it's just not working out. Hey, linebacker, can we get somebody?
Howard's working out.
Can we get another linebacker? I mean, those are the things that if I were the GM, that's where I would kind of take my focus towards. So hey, we'll see, but we never know what these teams are going to do, right?
Let me clarify that this is not what I would do. Again, I would not sign a running back for big money. Zero chance of that happening if I was the GM. But I do think that is what Miami's gearing up to do, because when they tried the patchwork system, it didn't work. Now, if I'm Eric's plan is probably the one that makes the most sense. If you're going to go with a rookie who rookies have been doing well, and you think that you can have your guy in one of those top 2 running backs who probably will still be available at their second first-round pick, then they could definitely go that route and maybe spend the money on offensive line, which would make more sense. Get the proven guys, and then do whatever you want with that third pick. Bring in a wide receiver, maybe one who played in Alabama. Just saying.
Yeah.
Hey, Patrick, why are you calling me by my last name, dog? Don't be doing me like
Your
that.
government names.
Hey. And you forgot the H, player. Put the H on there. Respect that name, son. No, but it's interesting, man. And we'll see what happens with the Dolphins. I mean, we're gonna keep an eye on them regardless, just because they're in the division. We kind of got to know what they're doing. But I think you're right. I think they're gonna spend some big money on Aaron Jones. So we'll see what happens. Here we go. Will Ed Oliver have a breakout season in 2021? Now we got Starla Tulele coming back. We don't know what additions at defensive end and what subtractions the Bills are going to make at defensive end. Do they get rid of Mario Addison? They spent a lot of money on that position of free agency. But I think now is the time Ed Oliver steps up to the plate. This is going to be year 3. Now we thought he would have a breakout year last year, but again, with Starla Tulele being out, he was forced to play his role, and he did okay. Ed Oliver played well, but when you're the 9th overall pick, and before that you were, touted to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft, I think Bills fans and national media, we all are just kind of like, when is he going to show flashes and potential that he could be a top 5 defensive tackle in this league? So what say you, fellas? Anthony first.
I'm going to go cash again here. I think that everything you said matters here. And the big thing is it better be cash. He doesn't have a choice. If it's not cash, he's the biggest bust that the Bills have had in a long time. And the biggest bust that McDermott and Bean have had for sure. Because you're a top 10 pick. We're not talking somebody we picked at 30 who can play decent and be okay. You're a top 10 pick. You better make your impact. We're talking Khalil Mack, right? Like we're talking Aaron Donald, like all those guys. You better be in the conversation with some of the top guys in the league because that's what we drafted you for. And I do think that, he's gotten a lot of hate this year in 2020 season that he didn't deserve because he was playing out of position without Star. He was doing a lot of things that weren't getting noticed. He ate up people on that offensive line. He was the attention on that line. So, I think that he has to have a breakout season. I think everything you said leads to me believing that he will because he has the talent. And man, if he can just get in the right position and see what he can do in terms of getting to the quarterback, in terms of getting in the stat sheet on the defensive line, because that's really what it comes down to. He's got to do that, and I think he will. So I'm going cash all the way.
Okay, so before you take off on that, I got to address my guy Randy. So I never said that he sucked. Okay, that was never my take. You guys know I've been high on Ed Oliver since we drafted the guy, and I say what his impact last year went far beyond what we saw on the stat sheet. Like I say, he plays Star's role. Star never blew up the stat sheet, right? And I think, but at the same time, I think there were times where we should have seen more production in the pass rush department. I think there are times where we should have seen him break double teams more. And I don't think that's too much to ask out of a top 10 pick. I think he's good, but there were expectations that he would be great. And right now, just like Tremaine Edmonds is good, but he's not great. We need them to be great. And it's okay to look at them from that lens and go, okay, yeah, like, can we get more out of you? Brandon Beane, that's their whole job. What do we have to do to get more out of you? What do we need to put around you? What kind of training? Whatever it is, they have to maximize potential. They have to hit on those draft picks just because you're about to play Josh Allen. And we're not, cap space is going to be limited, so you have to hit on those picks.
Yeah, so I'll go. I'm going to go trash on. He'll have a breakout season because I thought he had a breakout season last season. And again, he's not going to stuff the stat sheet, but he's still second on this team with quarterback pressures. Behind Jerry Hughes, and he only played 53% of the snaps. He had 16 quarterback pressures overall, 9 hurries, 4 quarterback knockdowns, and 3 sacks. And on this defense, which is 18th in quarterback pressures overall, he's leading the way for his position, a defensive tackle, right? The edge guys should have more. So I think Ed Oliver already is important to this team. And if you're an offense scheming against this team, you got to pay attention to him, especially with Star coming back. You have a decision to make. You're going to put Star one-on-one, or you're going to double Ed Oliver. I mean, that's a tough decision to make, and that's going to cause a lot of confusion. I think the linebackers will benefit, and also maybe the edge players. But Ed is already a problem. He's already contributing to this team.
Yes.
And I get defensive tackles, and the stat sheet is just so hard to analyze. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, I've seen him drop back in coverage and things like that too. So
he's not. That's not what he's supposed to do.
Mario Williams. Hey,
Oh God. God. Yeah. I mean, he has all of the talent. That's the thing with this guy. There's nothing that we could point at and say, oh, he's got to be faster, or he's got to have better feet, or something like that. He has all of the skills you want in a guy on the defensive line. So he has to put it together. And it's worth noting that McDermott and Bean, in their history, year 3 seems to be the magic number year that players who they drafted step up.
I like that.
So,
I like that, Anthony.
And that's
all right.
Okay. Improve. Okay, we know what happened this year. You have the skill set. He could take that giant leap in year 3.
Okay, ride a horse in the Pro Bowl.
So we're all going cash on that. I think Ed Oliver will. I mean, he's raw coming out of Houston. He's raw. Okay, so I think, and I love your take there, Anthony, about him being I love that. I like that. Year 3
magic number.
It's a magic year. We're gonna go with that. We ride that wave all season because we're gonna need some of that.
Let's go.
Ride that wave. Okay, so last cash or trash. Will the Texans trade Deshaun Watson? He did meet with David Culley. God bless his soul. He met with David Culley last week, and he's like, "Hey, I still want out." Was that on TikTok? Would they be doing this? Corvette. Like, yeah, okay. So he still wants out. So, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to play in Houston. Not with that circus that they got going on. They miss me too. But my guy's willing to sit out the whole year, and he's got enough money in the bank. Houston, you paid me. Hey, and now I want to go. Do they trade him this year, or do they just hold on to? Do they Barry Sanders him? What do you think?
Eric's turn, I think.
My turn. Okay, I'll go cash that they are going to trade him, because I don't think you have a choice. And if you don't trade him, I think you'll end up regretting that, because if you don't trade him soon, because the draft is coming, and maybe they're waiting until after free agency, who knows? But there's a unique, opportunity for the Texans to get up in the top 5 if you trade Deshaun Watson to the Jets or one of these other teams to get a replacement quarterback. And that's not always going to be the case, right? So I think you got to get up there now, and the opportunity's there. Like, you just have to pull the trigger and move on. It's a full rebuild in Houston. It's already well underway. Just let it happen.
Well, what are they? What's the price tag on that? What do y'all think? What's the price tag for him?
I mean, the top 5 picks certainly helps.
It's going down as time goes on.
3 1s, right?
I said that a legitimate asking price is 6 first-round picks, and I still feel that way. That is legitimate asking price for a guy like Deshaun Watson. The problem is, right now, Deshaun Watson has all of the leverage. So this is the opposite of the Russell Wilson situation that we talked about last week, right? To me, Russell Wilson ain't going anywhere, because the team is just going to be like, too bad, we want you to play for us. You're under contract. You're playing for us. We have no reason to trade you. We don't want to trade you. That's that. Right. This situation, I think Watson's willing to sit out rather than play for Houston. And they are rebuilding, as we just said. They need to rack up the picks. They don't even have a first-round pick right now because they traded it away to Miami. They should have the 3rd overall pick. So now I think the problem is, the longer they wait, they're only hurting themselves. They think they're doing better. They're like, well, Deshaun, we're not really going to trade you. I have no idea why they're putting this out there like that. Look, it's time to move on. He said, I'm not playing for you. You don't believe him? He's not playing for you. You need assets to start rebuilding your team. If I'm the coach there who just got hired, I'm saying, get this guy the frig out of here. Get him out and get me some picks. You want me to rebuild this team or play with a guy who's never going to go on the field for me? Like, are you kidding me? The GM has to do what's right and get him out of there. You've got to trade him. Get your picks now. You can get legitimate star players from teams and picks, and multiple first-round picks. Probably still 3 first-rounders and a player at minimum to me. And that's what teams are willing to give up right now. Call one of those teams, any team in the NFL who needs a quarterback right now, they will hand that to you with a smile on their face.
Another thing, if I'm Houston, I'm maybe try to get a veteran quarterback. Not a lot of people are talking about that. Maybe Matt Ryan, somebody like who's proven, who it levels the playing field a little bit, right? So you get a first and a Matt Ryan for Deshaun Watson. I mean,
no, I don't think
something.
So. Not a first. A first? Three firsts and Matt Ryan. You're eating Matt Ryan?
You get the first, but are you going to hit on those picks? Odds are you're going to hit on 2 if you're really good at drafting.
Listen,
right?
I don't want Moses as my quarterback back there. Give me somebody young that we can build around. I ain't trying to bring in no old ass.
Okay, Matt Ryan, bad example. How about let's go? What do you think? Who's a young quarterback that you could trade Deshaun Watson for? Even trade.
Nobody.
Nobody.
Who are you going to trade for Deshaun Watson and a first-round pick?
I would rather do that if I'm Houston than draft a guy and take your chances.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Well, Bridgewater, no, thank you.
Well, how many teams do you know that start a rebuild? You know, what they need is if they're not able to get one of the quarterbacks this year, which maybe they're not. Maybe they don't get that pick from Miami. Maybe, as far as we know, there's 5 quarterbacks going in the top 5 picks this year because that's the way it's looking like in the draft. Okay. Those 5 quarterbacks are going to be gone. So they might not get that pick this year. So what do they need is just a bridge guy, and then they'll draft their guy next year, just like the Bills tried to do with Tyrod Taylor. I like that idea, yeah. Sam Darnold.
It's either the Jets or the Broncos. Those are your best. I think that's your best bang for your buck.
But I don't want to be. I don't know. I mean, if Houston probably doesn't want to trade him in the AFC. Obviously, they would prefer to trade him to the NFC. Obviously, for obvious reasons, they don't want to play him ever again. So, I mean, you got to figure out what's out there. At least field offers, right? Open your phone lines? The rumor is that they're not even answering the phone at this point, which is just stupid.
So I am anti-stopgap quarterback, and I know everybody loves Teddy Bridgewater, but he is a limited quarterback.
Yes,
physically, he's limited. If I am in the position that the Houston Texans are in, I hate when we put Band-Aids on shit. Like, build the damn team, get your damn quarterback, and build around him. There are teams that you look through history of the NFL that are doing this shit. The Bills are one of them. That's a last success story. Get your young quarterback. Quit bringing in these old dudes, these guys that have been knocked the hell out, and guys that look, man. This is a game where you need fast, mobile, strong arm quarterbacks, young guys that you could build around. You got them on you're gonna have them on a rookie deal. Like, just do it the right way, man. Just do it the right. I'm not with bringing in Bridgewater or talking Phillip Rivers out of retirement and Joe Montana. Like, get the hell out of here.
But if you can't get a rookie this year, you have to get somebody who's young enough to be somebody you feel like you can build around. And I mean, Sam Darnold might be that option, but again, that might not be with the Jets. You might have to work a 3-team deal to get something like that going.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the only 2 teams I can see are the Jets and the Dolphins. I think Carolina's still going to have a hard time coming up with the draft capital for Deshaun Watson. Who do they have to offer to the Texans?
Christian McCaffrey, that's it.
But they just re-signed David Johnson today.
Make it up. They'll figure it out. If Houston wants to deal them, they can.
It's easy to take money. Right?
Yeah, it is. All right, so we're done with that. Here we go. The inside slant. This is where we talk about our Bills. All right, everything that's going on with the Bills and just hot takes that we come up with. So on the inside slant, folks. First topic. So the reason why we brought you here today, we want to talk about options at the defensive end position. As you guys know, listen, I hate the idea. I think quarterback pressures is not a real stat. Like, that's like, I just look.
Something tells me you're not going to like Eric's choice.
In this scheme, it is a stat. It's got to be.
You're there, but you're not getting it done. Like, you made it to second base, but
you're not getting penalties.
There's already 2 outs.
She didn't come home with you, so great. You're just a nice guy, right? Quarterback pressures means you're just a nice guy. Like, I need to seal the deal. I need to wreak havoc in the backfield, and I people get so crazy over quarterback pressures. Look, I need numbers. I need sacks. Like, get to him. Like, make him pay. So we're going to talk about, this is the free agency options. And then we're going to talk about the draft after this. So, but let's stick to the free agents. Okay. Free agent defensive ends. The Bills definitely need a pass rush. As you guys know, we could create some space by getting rid of Vernon Butler, Mario Addison, John Brown on the offensive side of the ball. We could restructure some contracts and deals to create more space. Without restructuring any deals, by making some cuts, you could save about $29 million against the cap. If you restructure some deals, turn them into signing bonuses up front, you can get even a little bit more money. So this is just an idea. Okay. I have what I think are the top pass rushing free agents available. Yannick Ngakoue, Romeo Okwara, Trey Hendrickson, Carl Lawson. I think Von Miller is going to be released. They do have a player option. I think his cap hit is around 18 million. And I think Matt Judon is another defensive end that the Bills could be looking at. So what my question for you guys is, what do you think the Bills are going to do? And who are your guys that you have your eye on here in the next few weeks?
Yeah, so you can check out, I made the case last week for defensive end. Make sure you check that out. But if you listen to that already, I'm high on Carl Lawson, right? Okay. And you're going to hate this, but 44 quarterback pressures. Okay, I get it. Yeah. I get it. But disrupt the quarterback, right? It's not always about bringing him down, right? It's disruption. That's what the Bills need. Disruption.
We have Jerry Hughes.
Bills are 18th in pressures.
Jerry Hughes does enough disrupting.
Okay. You know who else does a lot of disrupting? J.J. Watt.
You get two guys.
How many sacks did he have last year? 5. But 29 quarterback pressures. That's a lot compared to any Bills player.
J.J. Watt have like 100.
But just to put it in perspective, though, why quarterback pressures matters because Carl Lawson had 44 quarterback pressures. He only played 68% of the snaps. So that's getting after the quarterback time and time again. And that's what this team needs. They don't have that guy outside of Jerry Hughes, Ed Oliver. Those two guys are really the only ones, but they're only on the field about half the time. They play about 53% of the quarterback or defensive snaps. So
last year, Carl Lawson had 5.5 sacks. All right. His rookie year, he had 8.5.
Yeah.
Now, I get that he's playing in Cincinnati, but you have a beast of a dude and Geno Atkins, right?
Okay.
I don't think the Bills should break the bank. I like Carl Lawson.
I think you get a good deal on him, right?
Yeah, I think he's a bendy edge rusher. I think he's an upgrade over Mario Addison for sure. But I just can't get behind quarterback pressures, man. I mean, somebody in the chat convinced me that quarterback pressures is just that's what we need. Like, I just think, hey, get to the quarterback.
Okay.
Strip sacks.
I think it starts with pressures, and then you get sacks later. But it starts there. If you're looking for a low-cost free agent, this is the details you got to get in to find a good deal.
So that's your number one guy that you want the Bills to go out and get.
I mean, for the price, right? I think you can get Carl Lawson at an affordable price that the Bills, would take a chance on, and he would have a huge impact on the team. So yes.
What is his price though? I mean, he's still projected to get close to $10 million a year. Now, if you think he's worth that, I mean, he can be. Sign him for 3 years, 30, 4 years, 40. You got to organize the contract, obviously, to have the least amount of impact this year. He could be a guy who's worth it. So I don't necessarily disagree on Carl Lawson, but I will say this much about this position that I think the Bills will sign somebody to this defensive line. They're going to look for an established pass rush type of guy. And here's a name that I, thinking about.
Hold on. Hey, hold up.
I just read that.
You can't keep talking.
I just read that. I just read that.
Hey, this is comment of the night. Pressure is like setting up your friend with the girl. Basically, you're the third wheel. All right.
Hey. Your night's wasted. Yes.
I scored vicariously through you.
That's like being all about a girl, and she's like, "Yo, but your friend though, your friend. Let's holler at him." You're like,
you get the second choice.
Yeah. I done bought you how many drinks tonight? You are here with this? Oh man, that's rough. So, yeah, exactly. Okay, go ahead.
It's hard to get back on track after that one, but where I was going was saying I do think the Bills will sign somebody at this position. I do think this is where they're willing to invest the money to find the right guy who could be the right fit for them, whoever that is that they decide. There's a lot of names out there that have been floated. If Von Miller becomes available, just like with J.J. Watt, I think the Bills will be interested. Again, it's just about the right price. And I think somebody might be willing to pay him more unless he wants to win a championship with Buffalo, which I don't know why, because he's already won one with Denver. So I don't think he needs to do that at this point in his career. So he's probably going to get a big payday if Denver lets him go. So I don't think he's coming to Buffalo. Same thing with other guys. Another name I've heard out there is Jadavian Clowney. I don't want him either. I think he could be. He could be the right type of guy. It's the right idea, right? Here's a guy who had an underperforming year, who might be looking for a 1-year deal to fill in, to prove himself. But the problem is he's all about, it seems like he's more about the contract he can get than actually playing on the field. He's definitely not a process guy. That's basically what I'm saying. It doesn't seem like he'd be a good fit for the Buffalo Bills unless McBean thinks he is, and he's willing to come in for a low price in order to move on. But we saw last year that wasn't the case. He waited till the season started to get a deal from Tennessee. And obviously it didn't work out there because of his injury. But that brings me to my next point, injury. The Bills have been great about signing guys who are injury prone or had issues with injury. And then our health staff and the new resources that they built in Buffalo, man, I think a name that we talked about last year as a possible trade target, Melvin Ingram, pass rush guy, had issues with injury. He could come in at the right price for the right deal. He's 31 years old, so you give him maybe 2-3 years, depending on how much he wants. Money-wise, again, more years you add, the more you can spread it out. So that's the only reason I'm saying give him maybe 3 instead of 2. So I really think that Ingram could be the guy to come in and be a pass rush guy. You're asking him to go after the quarterback, and at the right price, that's probably the guy that I would target.
Okay, let me address this real quick. Okay.
Yeah, that's funny.
I love you, Wanell. I love you. Okay, but you're wrong.
Yeah.
Von Miller did play in a 3-4 his whole career.
That's true.
Right? But Von Miller can also put his hand in the dirt and be a 4-3 defensive end just as well. He is outside linebacker. And all his sacks did not come as an outside linebacker. If you watch the tape, he does play with his hands in the dirt, and he is effective at doing both. Von Miller is one of the best pass rushers of our generation in the last 10 years. Like, Von Miller he's legit. Really good. Also, I mean, he's double-digit sacks all but 2 years in his career. I mean, this guy consistently gets to the quarterback. Von Miller brings a championship pedigree. He is also a fan favorite, and I think he will be the perfect complement to a Jerry Hughes. They both have, Von Miller pass rush moves and his ability to bend. He is a very bendy pass rusher, fierce hands. I mean, he can do it. He can kind of do it all. And so I think, Jerry Hughes and his ability to get pressures, right? It gets some sacks every now and then. Jerry Hughes is much better in the playoffs than he is in the regular season, by the way. That's just my take. But having Von Miller on the side would be great. So, yeah, Von Miller can play the 4-3 position.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that at all. He definitely has the talent to play.
Yeah. I just think somebody will pay Von Miller.
Oh, yes. Because he's going to get paid.
Yeah, he's going to get paid. But
he's such a unique talent. Somebody will throw money at him. The Bills just cannot compete with that.
Exactly. I don't think.
And just because you won one Super Bowl doesn't mean you don't want to win another. Right? When you have all this money in the bank, like some guys just want to win some more. Like, it ain't all about money. Like J.J. Watt. It ain't all about the money. All right. So yours is Melvin Ingram. That's your top guy.
That's who I think is a good fit for the Bills.
Okay.
And then I would, we haven't talked draft yet, but I would draft somebody later. I think
like
we could find another guy because you have AJ Eppinessa still too, right? And we didn't exactly talk about which guys we're keeping on the line. Addison, Butler, Jefferson. Some combination of that is changing. We can guarantee that 100%.
For sure.
It's a matter of which one they.
The only guy gone right now is Trent Murphy.
Yes,
so
and
that's the name. So these
riddance.
top names are a luxury. Like, it's more likely they'll get somebody way down the list that we're not even talking about.
Yeah,
or draft someone. Yeah.
Okay, so Eric, your guy is again who? Carl Lawson.
Yeah, I like Carl Lawson. We didn't talk about Ngakoue too much.
Yeah, I mean, he's another name out there, but you're talking.
If you want an impact player to get you to the next level, which I think the Bills are thinking that we need a player that'll get them over the hump versus Kansas City and the top teams in the NFC. Ngakoue needs to be in that conversation.
It's going to cost too much money.
Exactly.
True, but they're in the running for
creative
JJ
ways
Watt.
to do it.
Right, there is.
With a guy like Ngakoue, who's only, 25, 26?
Yeah, he's 26.
You give him a 5-year deal or something ridiculous, 5-year, $65 million, and then you have more flexibility to say you're only $1 million against the cap in 2020, and then it's mostly 2021, and it's mostly backloaded, right? Okay. So that's where you get the flexibility there. But then you're going all in on a guy like that, and I'm not sure that's the route. That would be great. I mean, I think that's where they put their stamp and they say, this is what we're investing in, period. Right. We need one of these young top pass rushers, period. We tried filling in with these veterans who I thought were good, but it didn't work out as well as we hoped.
But
granted,
if you're talking about
situation wasn't what they thought it was going to be.
role, which isn't a big role, right? AJ Eppinessa split it
Murphy.
up with him. Hold on.
I can fill the Trent Murphy role.
Just relax. But
he said just relax.
Just relax. I know you're gonna blow up. But Ngakoue played for 2 teams last year. Minnesota, 13 pressures, and we played 31 snaps. So you want a guy that can come in 30% of the time and make an impact.
That's very much
that's him. And he did the same thing for Baltimore, 13 pressures, 33% of snaps.
Mm-hmm.
So he had more quarterback pressures than Jerry Hughes, and he played less of the time. So, I mean, what's that tell you? That's why he's getting big money.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll see. I mean, I think there's other teams out there that are going to pay him more than the Bills are willing to invest. And I could still see the Bills going the veteran route, just changing who that veteran is. If Von Miller's there and we end up cutting Butler or something and giving Von Miller his money, that's great. And maybe a little bit more. That's fine. That's perfect. That could be what the Bills go into 2021 with. And that's fine. You're expecting AJ Eppinessa to take that next step. Logically, he's going to be in his second year. He's going to have a whole off season, hopefully, to prep. So you have that guy still.
Good things. He showed some good things last year.
Yeah, and you could still draft a defensive end type guy later in the draft, which is what I'm going to say in the next part of this.
Okay, so my guy that I want the Bills to get is Trey Hendrickson from New Orleans. This is a guy last year had 13.5 sacks. Yes. Oh, yes. Trey Hendrickson is a baller. The guy can play. He's more of your high effort, high energy guy, but I think he would fit this defense very well. He's a tall, lanky kind of. I like what he did last year. And the thing about him is like he started 15 games last year. I like the fact that he started 15 games and he produced. I mean, you can't even opposite Cameron Jordan.
The problem is,
what's the problem?
Here's where I would compare him to a guy like Jordan Phillips last year. Jordan Phillips had 12 sacks, 10 sacks last year, and we knew he was going to get big money in free agency. Was he worth the big money? No, because it was the attention of the other guys on the D line that allowed him to rack up the sacks. And that's what scares me about like the New Orleans defense, right? They have a lot of good guys on that defensive line, and he happened to be the guy who got the stats. But does that mean he can be the number one guy?
And a backup role. He played in 15
but
games.
He's still going to get top dollar, and I'm less certain about him than I am about Ngakoue or even Ingram or even Carl Lawson. So I'll take those 3 over Hendrickson at that point.
Because you see more production, right? But I mean, if you go back and watch, the guy has some ability. He definitely has some pass rush ability, and you may not have to pay him a ton of like. Ngakoue is the top pass rusher, right?
Yeah, probably.
Pass. But I think Hendrickson is a tier below. So I mean, I don't know what his asking price is going to be, what his market value is. All I'm saying is that the guy can play. He definitely could play, and he pops when you watch him off screen. He could play. So yeah, what's his market value?
I'm pulling up Spot Track now. Spot Track's annual calculated value is $10.3 million a year for him. So they're predicting 3 years, 30-something million. So that's a pretty good. I mean, that's about what we're saying the Bills are willing to put into this position.
The Bills pay more than that for Mario Addison last year. Yeah. We talk about his salary and signing bonus and so forth. Yeah, they pay more. They pay more money on the books for Mario Addison than they would if that is his market value. Then he is cheaper than Mario Addison, and I guarantee you he produces more than Mario did this year. That's just
like I said, that's right in the range I think the Bills are aiming for. Let's give somebody $10 million if we think they're the guy to come in. Even if it's Von
yeah.
Miller, that's probably the number.
I mean, they
they're
paid
willing
Trent
to go
Murphy
with.
last year, so I think
God.
10 for someone who's going to play, I think is a good place.
You're trying to get me angry, aren't you?
Yeah, right.
All the shit I took in the offseason last year for saying cut Trent Murphy.
Yeah.
He never did it. Okay,
now that money be free
all year long. That was a hole there, though.
All right.
Imagine if you had that $9 million, you could sign Trey Hendrickson for free without having to cut somebody or rework a contract.
Yeah. You might pull a Tom Brady, give him the Kraft deal, baby.
Yeah.
Pagula special. Give him the Pagula special. We'll give you a daughter. All right. You can have her, and you can sign here for free. We got you on the back end. Here's 2% of the Sabres. Okay, options in the draft at defensive end. So we just went over some free agency options for the Bills that we would like to see, or even the Bills even get into some contract discussions. I know the tampering period is going to start here soon, right? Maybe even next week. I think that's how it works typically. We have free agency, then there's a week before where the tampering period where people,
it doesn't start until the Monday, I think. The 3 days before, 2 days before. I think the 17th is the opening of free agencies, and I think that's a Wednesday. So the Monday, 2 days before, is when the tampering period starts.
Okay. People disagree with Trey Hendrickson. That's okay. That's okay. So the draft. Now, the draft is an intriguing way to look at pass rusher this year, because you have there's a lot of options at pass rusher, defensive end. The problem is, there is not a surefire, this is the guy, gotta have it. He's you're set up for the next 10 years. So there's a lot of guys with potential, flashes of potential, right? I would say probably in the scouting community, maybe GMs alike, maybe thinking, if I really need a pass rusher, do I want to spend a high first round draft pick on one? Maybe do I want to trade back and get him for a better value at the end of round 1 into round 2 and so forth. So here are some guys that just come to mind. Kwity Paye in Michigan, Azeez Ojulari, Georgia, Joseph Asai, Texas. Jalen Phillips is very raw pass rusher, in my opinion, but he's from 6'5" University of Miami. Greg Rousseau is another guy that's he has production, but he's raw in the pass rush department. Quincy Roche, I think we were very high on him prior to the season, right? He's one of those guys. And I think, Jason Oweh, and there's definitely other guys. Carlos Basham is another guy that's really intriguing that you could probably find on day 2 as a pass rush option. So who stands out to you? And this is just under the lens, if the Bills are going to draft, let's just say this, if the Bills are going to draft a defensive end at the end of round 1, who do you think's available and who would you select?
Well, I'm Team Miami all the way. Rasu and Phillips, just because the versatility is just blows the doors off with versatility. They can play any position on basically the front 7. And I think one, maybe 2 of them will slip just because Rasu doesn't have a lot of film. Right? He only played 1 full season, and he sat out this past year, opted out. Jordan Phillips has a little more, but he did face an injury. So I think there'll be a lot of questions for those 2 guys. There's a good chance they could fall, and I think they would fit this attacking 4-3 perfectly. But there's so much with them. It'd be fun to scheme with them.
Here's the problem I have with that. You're saying they're going to fall, and the reason they're falling is because we don't have enough information about them.
Right. True.
And that already makes me nervous. I don't want to use this 30th pick when we have other needs, when there's more prominent players on offensive line, at linebacker, at all these other positions we want that could be picked there. I'm not willing to go.
We're talking about defensive end.
Exactly.
Also, the thing is, the athleticism is just off the charts with these 2 guys. Something we didn't mention. If you want to go with raw athleticism, I think the Bills have proven that they can develop better than most teams in the entire league. If they want to take a chance on one of these guys, I think it's justified.
Yeah, well, when it comes to draft and in general, one of the guys that we all respect and love is Joe Marino. And Joe Marino's show, actually today, he talked about on his podcast the defensive ends. And he said, where can the Bills improve? And one of the stats that he talked about that surprised me was that the defensive ends taken at the end of the first round have a more likelihood of being busts, and not just like busts, like, oh, they didn't quite work out. Like Ed Oliver's not living up to number 9, but he's not a bust, but absolute, like not even in the league anymore type busts at those bands. And he gave multiple examples going back to like 2012 of guys who were picked between 20 and 32 who just did not make it. And so what his point was, that the guys who tend to be the succeeding ones are those guys who go in the top 10, and it's for a reason, because they have that talent and ability, and we know they're going to be a success. So to have the question marks of maybe this is the guy at the bottom, and given that history, I think there's no way I could go pass rusher in this early in the draft.
Fair, but I think you can say that for a lot of positions that past a certain point in the first round. There's not very many quarterbacks in the league past pick 30 either. You know what I'm saying? They bust a lot more frequently. And I think edge rusher is a premier position in the league. They tend to go higher. Teams take chances on them earlier. But even in this specific draft, I think there's a lot more guys available who might be going in round 5 or 6 who have just many, maybe not as many, but just as good of skill sets as the guys going in the first. So that's what I think that is going to happen with the Bills here. They've done their scouting. We know we trust McBean's scouting at this point. All of the guys they've brought in have been great in terms of evaluating players and getting the guys that they really want and fit what they're doing. So I think they're going to look deeper into the draft and say, I don't know, I love this guy. I don't know why he's a 4th round talent. We could take him in the early 4th round. Or this guy's a 7th round talent. We think he's a 5th round guy. We're going to take him in the 5th round. And I think that's where we end up getting somebody who's a scheme fit, who can learn behind the guys we already have in there, who could be a future big time contributor. Right. And I think this year is unique in this category because there's question marks on everybody.
Yeah, we've talked about that. All
maybe
year,
except for a few, the Jamar Chases of the world, right? Who played 4 years. And he opted out last year, though, right, Sterling?
Who's that?
Jamar Chase?
Yes, he did.
So he's even a guy that there's question marks with, you know what I'm saying? But just to get the point across, because of COVID and the down college football year, you're relying on old film, and who knows how people are gonna be after sitting out of football for a whole year. I mean, I'm sure they have their own programs and things like this, but there's question marks on everybody. You have to work harder to find out, the details on these guys. And I think the Bills will do that. But, I mean, raw athleticism, it's just hard to find, period. So, I mean, there's a lot of good pass rushers that can potentially get to us on an athleticism spectrum.
I mean, and Randy Harmon brings up a good point too. He asked me about the Notre Dame guys on day 3, and I think that the one guy is Dalen Hayes. I like him. I think he is limited in his arsenal. And then Ogunjunbunye, or I don't even know how to say this guy's name, but like, and the only reason I've Ogunjunbunye, or look, I'm butchering this dude's name, okay, but these are both 6'4" pass rushers. Notre Dame's been turning out some pretty damn good defensive ends lately. Day 3, hell yeah. I mean, I think there's 2 positions that if you want to take on day 3, just as a project, it's defensive and a cornerback that you could take all day long. So yeah, absolutely. I would definitely look into those guys if we don't find a pass rush option, maybe day 2, day 1. I mean, I don't know what the Bills are thinking, and I think Joe Marino has a point there. Yeah. Again, you're in a position where you have to hit on these draft picks.
Yes.
Like I said earlier before, if there's a pass rush prospect, like you want a sure thing. They took Eppinessa in the 2nd round, right? Guys like Yannick Ngakoue went in the 3rd round. That's not the norm, right? But these are guys that are coming out there. People are like, I'm gonna need a little bit more of a sure thing, and they turn out to be really good. I don't know if the Bills have that luxury. I think whoever they draft, it needs to be an impact player,
right,
at that position. Yeah. Or in that position that they are drafting later in the 1st round. Yeah. So probably your safest bet, because the draft is heavy, the best position in the draft this year is offensive line. You probably be better drafting an offensive lineman, but that's not for tonight's episode. But you probably be better drafting an offensive lineman than any other position in the draft this year in the 1st round. So, but the Bills do need defensive end help, and that's why we're here tonight. And I like what both of you said. If you're to ask me a guy that could be there, late in round 1 that maybe not. Azeez Ojulari. He reminds me a lot of Jerry Hughes. He's a very good athlete. He's just not consistent enough. We need more consistency. I think that was the thing with Jerry Hughes when he was at TCU. We needed more consistency, and how he was a very light defensive end coming out. And I think back then when Jerry Hughes came out, they were looking at more bigger, 6'4", 270 something pounds as defensive ends, where now you're looking at a lot guys that are like 240, are playing defensive end, and they're smaller, faster, more agile guys. I think he's an option probably at the end of round 1, and I think Greg Rousseau is another guy that'll probably be there at the end of round 1. Like I said, he's raw. You wanted to see more. You wanted to see more out of him. I'm not talking about this year, obviously, but you want to see, if you're going to take a pass rusher in the first round, I think you need to. I would think that you want somebody that is a surefire thing. We've seen the Aaron Maben thing. I know people don't want to hear about that. We got fooled in that. We got bamboozled into that one. But we'll see what happens, man.
Let's talk about AJ Eppinessa. He obviously fell.
Yeah.
He was projected top 25 pick, right? Fell to 54, and the Bills took him. I mean, obviously question marks there.
But at the time, you're talking about the strategy of McBean in general, that they probably knew they wanted to go defense. They knew that was one of their positions of need, and that was a guy they had high on their board who just fell right down to them, 20 spots lower than they had him projected. And they said, we have to draft this guy. We don't even have a choice because he's the best talent we've had by far on our board at this point. So, I mean, that makes sense. In when you're actually in the draft, you don't know who's going to be available when you're down there. Right. But even if these guys who might be their top are available, I know we've mentioned this multiple times, but trading back into the second round might be the better idea. Trade back into the top of the second round somehow, top 10 of the second round, and one of these guys that we just mentioned is still going to be there probably. Yeah. So you could pick them there and get your other second round pick. So
I'm not a big trade back guy this year.
I am. I'm all the way.
Best available. You take best available. I think the Bills are going to have needs, right?
It all depends on how the board
shakes out. They have the luxury to go best available need, but you got to fill some of these needs.
Yes, it all depends on how that board shakes out. But that's my point. Tackle. Would you rather have 3 second-round guys who can start day 1, or a first-round guy and a second-round guy, and that's it?
I mean, you're 2 picks away from the second round, so I'm just going to count 30 as a second round.
It's
so
best available.
With a 5th-year option. That's the big difference.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the dilemma coming into this draft. Like, you have to put your eggs in a basket with your scouting department, your personnel department, because, again, a lot of these kids opted out, didn't even play, right? And you outside of the top 5, everybody's kind of it's a level playing field, right? And so stepping back and accumulating picks. I would like that. I mean, I think if you were in the end of the first round, if you traded back, you can get a 3rd, right? And maybe something else, this 5th or 6th or whatever. I mean, however you work it. But I think stepping back and maybe accumulating some. I'd rather have. Look, give me a Jalen Mayfield if he's there. Give me a Creed Humphrey. I mean, I would take offensive line. Honestly, if Kadarius Toney is there, y'all know I love that dude. I would take him.
I don't think he's going to be there though.
He's probably not going to be there. But who knows? I mean, this is a year where we have no clue.
That's the most exciting part of the draft. Right. You evaluate all these players for a reason because you never know who's going to be there.
You don't know. I mean, it's going to be all over the place. And I expect more trades this year than we've seen in this upcoming draft, because there's how many guys do you know that are just surefire top? I think there's like maybe 5 top talent, and then everybody else is kind of
I like this comment by Randy. Right? I've heard Basham a name to the Bills a lot, and I could see that working out. If he's still there late in round 2, maybe round 3, I would definitely grab him there. So that could be a guy. I've heard him mocked to the Bills in multiple scenarios.
Yeah. Oh, somebody mentioned how many years did the Patriots trade out of round 1?
Yeah.
Well, the Patriots don't have a good draft history. I wouldn't go on that.
Yeah,
and you have the best quarterback that ever lived play.
And they had the luxury of signing all the free agents that they didn't need.
I wouldn't go off that, Lone Wolf. I love you. You're my dog, but I wouldn't do that.
It's not working out so great for him right now.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't do that. Okay, so all right, so we're closing the show. Okay. But I don't want you guys in the chat to comment on this. Okay. So you know how like we get that first free agency news and we're like, oh hell yeah, like we all go crazy and bananas over the first signing. Okay. Now we're not talking about a re-sign, we're talking about a new guy, fresh meat coming in. Okay. Who do you think the Bills are gonna sign first when that bell rings for free agency? Who's the guy?
Ooh.
Think about that one for a minute. And then you guys in the chat, tell me who you think that guy's going to be. First one up.
Honestly, I think it's this position. I think it's D-line. So Carl Lawson, if he ends up being the guy, that'll be, or Yannick Ngakoue if they decide, but I don't think they're going quite that high in salary. Or, Ingram, if that's the guy, although it's probably worth with those guys waiting a little longer. So maybe that one wouldn't be till down the line.
Defensive tackle.
That's already a sure thing. That's a sure thing.
Historical data.
Man.
That's a sure thing.
Oh man. We
didn't even talk about him, but that's basically.
Yeah. Well, it's because we already have 3 former Carolina defensive tackles.
Okay, so we got Daryl Williams at right tackle, but that's a re-sign. We're talking about fresh.
Yeah, they could do that at any time. They could re-sign their guy at any time, but I don't know.
My guy Seth says Hunter Henry.
Ooh, that's
an option. Okay.
Again, that just like we're talking about the defensive line, they could decide to go all in at tight end, but I doubt that highly. I do not think they're going quite that high. He's the best market value guy. Probably going to get 11 to 12 million a year. I don't see the Bills paying that much.
Curtis Samuel. Hey, that'd be dope.
Yeah, woo, Curtis Samuel.
That'd be cool.
Got the Carolina thing.
Cool. Yeah.
That's one guy that I would take.
Yeah, right. He would be a great fit. Assuming you're going to cut John Brown to sign Curtis Samuel. But
how about Alex Smith?
No.
No.
Okay.
I actually wouldn't mind bringing in Alex Smith, but it'd have to be on the cheap.
He wants to. I think he wants to start. I don't
exactly.
I don't think he wants to take a backup role.
He'll be able to start.
Yeah, I'm good now. You bring Fitzmagic as a backup quarterback.
That'll certainly be exciting.
That would be great.
That would certainly bring the excitement that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That would certainly do that. That would be a fireworks type move.
Sean Lee. Let's play a little Madden game for a minute.
No.
Hell no.
Hell no.
We talked about him last year too, but
okay, all right. What if it's Levante David? I'm
gonna look at the price instantly, but
that's exciting. It would be. That would be a surprise for sure. I still think they're gonna. That's another position for me where I think they're gonna go.
If they sign him, it's gonna be the only one.
And the veteron. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. That's a big money signing. I think
maybe
that's
not.
another position where
he got him a ring. I mean, he's who knows? Maybe he loves Tremaine Edmonds. Maybe that's his homie, right? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. He's definitely an upgrade from Milano. I mean, I'm not saying Milano's trash. And I'm like,
no, he's going to get big money too. Yeah. But we'll see. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. That's the exciting part now. We know what the Bills' needs are, but we don't know what they're going to look at in the first round until we see what happens in free agency. If they sign Feliciano and they sign Williams, then offensive line has now not become your number one priority. It's probably linebacker, pass rusher, or whatever else have you. Because there are other places we'd like to fill. Tight end, that's another one. I think they will both sign a tight end and draft one, so it's probably not going to be a Hunter Henry or a top guy, but it's going to be interesting. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. It could be Trent Murphy, 1 year, $2 million. Okay.
For $2 million, he can shine everybody's shoes on the sidelines.
The guy has a lunch pail. Okay.
Oh man,
that's worth $2 million.
Yeah.
Oh man. If Rochester had a semi-pro football team, he ain't even playing there, bro.
I told you he's going to end up in the division with Baltimore because he plays against Baltimore well. So go to Cincy. Have a nice night.
He'll end up on the Jets somehow.
Hey, Tony B says no Fitz. He's a quarterback killer. No matter where he goes, circumstance always cause him to start. Don't want that bad luck. Well,
that's funny.
Listen, if it comes down to that, I'll take Fitz because look. Josh Allen can be reckless, and he did get injured last year. Let's not forget. I'd rather have Fitz come in because I know he can run the offense, and he can give you a few wins in a spot. So Josh Allen, I would feel okay with Fitz starting if Josh Allen were to go down. And I think the Bills have to start thinking that way.
It's
You
still
definitely
the
need
up and down of like Josh Young's rookie year. You just don't know what's going to happen. That's kind of how Fitz is.
But would you
emotional
rather
roller
have
coaster.
Fitz
Yes,
or Matt
exactly.
Barkley?
Yeah.
No,
Or
Fitz
Jake
a
Fromm.
1,000 times over. Well, Jake Fromm, we have
who's
no
the
idea
running
what
back?
Jake
Just
Fromm
give the
is.
ball to the running back.
Are you gonna give it to Singletary?
Yeah.
You gonna give it to Christian Wade?
Yes.
Zach Moss?
Christian Wade. Can we stop
No.
with Christian Wade?
I know, right?
He could be our returner next year. You don't know. He has to have a legitimate shot. They can't stash him
Antonio
anymore.
Williams. Give it to him.
They can't stash him anymore.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Don't. Christian Wade is not. He ain't it. As the kids say that.
Yeah.
He ain't it, bro.
It's maybe the Bills bring in Matt
I got a good
Breida.
one.
I would love that because he was a guy I wanted last year for this
How
team.
about
because of his
Chad
speed.
Kelly?
Yes.
Oh my god!
You want Chad Kelly? Oh man,
Disaster!
that's your
No.
first signing of free agency.
Yeah.
Hey, what did Chad Kelly do out here in Denver? Didn't he got real trash, and then he ended up at somebody else's house?
DWI, yeah, he walked in somebody's house.
Yeah, he got attacked by a vacuum, and then got arrested, and then got cut the next day. So
yeah.
that's how his stuff's going.
Oh man,
that's funny.
Oh man,
that is funny.
The legend of Chad Kelly, boy. Lord have mercy.
Sounds like a process guy, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Through and
Not
through.
quite.
Through and through.
Ouch.
God. Yikes.
Chad is
Chad. Chad is a Chad bro.
He's a Chad.
He's a Chad bro. Chad is the Chad bro.
Chad is a Chad.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us, folks. Thank you once again for tuning in to the Hoof Live, man. We definitely appreciate all the support, man. You guys in the chat always filling it up. Be sure to make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know how we can improve the show. We definitely love your feedback. We are definitely going to be trying some new things this off season. Again, you find us on all social media, most social media platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all that. You can find us there. But yeah, like, follow, subscribe. This is the Hoof Podcast Live, and we out of here, and we'll see you later.
Go Bills.